Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel, and today we have another episode of my Premier League game week predictions that I do before every weekend of Premier League football now, and of course this weekend is game week 12 of the Premier League, so we're getting really thick and fast into the season. I mean, we're just approaching the Christmas period now. So before we do get into these predictions, I would quickly like to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel because we are looking to hit 800 subscribers as soon as we possibly can, and we're very close to hitting it now, so yeah, if you could subscribe, it costs you absolutely nothing and would make my day, so yeah, win-win situation. But yeah, let's get into finally predicting these Premier League games for this weekend of football. Starting off with the Friday night football, which this weekend is Leeds United versus West Ham. Now, two sides, of course, that did suffer defeats last weekend to Chelsea and Manchester United, respectively. Overall, I think both sides actually are very, very good. I mean, Leeds somehow are 14th place. I think they're massively underachieving this season, which sounds mental to say for a promoted side, but I think this season they've really underachieved simply because I think they've been a lot better than the results do show. And West Ham, on the other hand, doing really, really well this season, exceeding expectations, and everybody thought they'd be around, relegation at this time of the season, but they're doing really, really well, and they're in the top half of the table comfortably now. I think this does have the potential to be a very, very good game. For Leeds, they're missing two centre-backs in Robin Koch and Diego Llorente, but West Ham, on the other hand, are missing their key man, in my opinion, Mikel Antonio up front again. But overall, I think Leeds are very much due a win. I mean, the only win I can remember from the last month or even 2 months is the win at Goodison Park against Everton, and I feel like it will come this weekend, and that is why I've gone for Leeds United 2, West Ham United 1. Now we move on to Saturday, and the first game on Saturday is Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Aston Villa. Now, Wolves have they were absolutely destroyed last weekend against Liverpool 4-0 at Anfield, and I think that could be very much the start of things to come, especially with Raul Jimenez missing. Villa have dipped themselves recently as well without Ross Barkley, who did get injured. I think it was against Brighton, and since then they haven't really been doing that well, so both sides, you could say, are missing very, very important players. Wolves are very solid defensively, and I don't think they concede much goal. Going forward, they're very lacklustre without Raul Jimenez, I think it's fair to say. And I can definitely see this being a draw simply because, as I said, Wolves are so good defensively, but so, average offensively without Raul Jimenez, and that is why I think this will be a stalemate, and I've gone for Wolves 1, Aston Villa 1. Next up, we have probably the most unappeasing game of this weekend, if I'm being perfectly honest, and that is Newcastle United versus West Brom. Now, of course, Newcastle didn't play last weekend. They were meant to play Aston Villa, but apparently the game got called off because of course, a coronavirus outbreak in Newcastle's training camp. And to be fair, I feel like fitness could be an issue this week for Newcastle. Now, I know they're playing a very, very poor West Brom side, who did get slapped up last weekend by Crystal Palace at the Hawthorns, but Newcastle only actually trained for the first time, I think, on Tuesday, which obviously indicates that they haven't really had much time to prepare for this match, and overall haven't really been training, not only for the last week but even for the last 2 weeks as well. So I feel like fitness and overall match sharpness could be a bit of an issue for Newcastle this weekend. But overall, I mean, West Brom's attackers just haven't shown up. I mean, the likes of Dian Gana, Mateus Pereira, even Carlon Grant, who I thought was going to be very, very good for West Brom this season, none of them have showed up as of yet this season, and that is why I'd be absolutely astonished if there was more than 2 goals in this game, because of course Newcastle are pretty well renowned for being one of the most boring sides in the Premier League under Steve Bruce, and that is why I've gone for a pretty boring one here, but I've gone for Newcastle 0, West Brom 0. I do think one of these sides could nick a 1-0 win, but overall I'm sitting on the fence. I'm going to go for 0-0 in this one. Now we have the biggest game of the weekend, Saturday 5:30 kickoff, and of course that is the Manchester derby between Manchester United and Manchester City. Now United are in a state of bother at the moment. They lost in the Champions League in midweek to Leipzig, which does mean that they'll be finishing this European campaign in the Europa League, and of course the whole Paul Pogba scenario as well with Mino Raiola has really kicked off in the last week or so, so United are in a bit of bother at the moment, I think it's fair to say. City on paper have very much a stronger team. I don't think many people will argue against that, but somehow, I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer keeps kind of poxing these wins every now and then when United need it most and when his job's title is under pressure, so that is why I feel like this game will, not be just a walkover for City. And to be honest, I can't really see either team losing here, and that's why I've gone, sit on the fence. I've gone for Man United 2, Manchester City 2, but I do think it'll be a very, very good game. I think it'll be a high scoring game, and I wouldn't put it past either of these teams to nick a win whatsoever, but I just feel like neither of these teams will lose in my prediction, and that is why I've gone for 2-2 in this one. Now on to Everton versus my club Chelsea at Goodison Park. Now, of course, Chelsea have been absolutely blistering this season. I'm not complaining whatsoever because we're unbeaten since the second day of the season when we lost to Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, which was back in September. Everton were top in October and just looked absolutely on fire in Carlo Ancelotti's new team this season, and the signings like Alan, Decore and Rodriguez, as we said, were all on fire. Everton have dropped off a lot recently in the last month or two, and they're looking really, really average in recent weeks, and obviously they've picked up some poor results recently. However, there will be fans of this game, of course, 2,000 Everton fans going to this game at Goodison Park, and I'm not going to lie, a small-ish stadium like Goodison Park, I mean, Goodison Park will be absolutely low-key bouncing for this one, I have to say, and that is why I think it'll be a very entertaining game. And I don't obviously usually go against my club Chelsea, and obviously you want to predict the team that you support to win, but I do feel like Everton will win this one just about, and I've gone for Everton 3, Chelsea 2. Now, maybe that might be just, me being sceptical, but overall I feel like Everton will just about win this one. They're due a win as well, as I said, with the poor form and the fact that Chelsea haven't lost since September, and yeah, I just feel like Everton will just about win this one. I do, of course, course hope I'm wrong though, let's just put that out there. On to the next game now, we move on to the Sunday games, and the first one on Sunday is Southampton versus Sheffield United. Now Southampton doing absolutely brilliant this season. I mean, they're 5th in the Premier League table for a reason. On the flip side, Sheffield United have been just absolutely dire this season. They've only picked up 1 point in the Premier League this season in the first 11 games, so they'd really want to get things going really quickly if they want to have any chance of surviving. In my opinion, Sheffield United and probably West Brom, in my opinion as well, are probably down and out. I think Burnley and Fulham will be the two teams that fight for the final safety place in the relegation battle, and I think they were really unlucky actually last weekend, Sheffield United, to not get at least a point against Leicester. One thing that does go in Southampton's favour this weekend is they do have Danny Ings fully fit again, so I would expect him to start alongside Che Adams up front. And of course Ings did score the winner from the spot at the Amex on Monday Night Football against Brighton as well, so he's well and truly back, and that is absolutely massive for Southampton, and firmly because of that and because of the form they've been on recently as well, and the fact that they're 5th in the Premier League table and Hasenhüttl has them just playing some absolutely brilliant football. I can't see anything other than a Southampton comfortable win here, and that is why I've gone for Southampton 3, Sheffield United 0. Now on to the next game, Crystal Palace versus Tottenham in front of 2,000 fans at Selhurst Park. So yet again, as I said a lot last week, brilliant to see that there's 2,000 fans back at a lot of Premier League grounds, and Spurs of course top of the league at the moment and looking pretty formidable under Jose Mourinho this season, and looking kind of unstoppable in recent weeks as well. However, on the other hand, I mean, Palace absolutely hammered West Brom 5-1 at the Hawthorns last weekend. I mean, Wilfred Zaha looked as ever on fire. Christian Benteke looked very solid as well, which is something that we wouldn't really say nowadays. And I'm not gonna lie, I can really see Spurs not winning this one. For some reason, I don't really see Spurs winning this one, and that is why I've gone for a draw in this game. I've gone for Crystal Palace 1, Spurs 1, and that is purely down to the fact that Spurs, you know, their counter-attacking type of play that Jose Mourinho does like, and obviously we associate that with a Mourinho masterclass. That does suit playing against the bigger teams a lot more, where they of course have more space. But against a team like Palace, especially with a manager like Roy Hodgson, I feel like Palace will just be like inviting Spurs on and being like, you know what, we'll settle for a draw, so if you want to settle for a draw, that's your choice. That added to the fact as well, as I said, the fans, the 2,000 fans in Selhurst Park, which is one of the smallest grounds in the Premier League, and Crystal Palace, as we know, have a massive reputation for having a loud stadium when there's fans in the ground, and that is why I feel like this one will be a draw, and that's why I've of course gone for 1-1. Now we have a game at Craven Cottage, Fulham versus Liverpool. Now Liverpool, I don't know how they keep doing it. I mean, ever since they've had the injuries to the likes of, you know, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, I mean even Henderson for a bit, Thiago's gone, Alisson was gone as well. I don't know how they keep winning games, and not even winning games, looking really solid as well. I mean, they hammered Wolves last weekend, as I said. On the other hand though, Fulham actually are looking quite decent as well, and if you guys are fans of the channel and have been watching for even a few weeks, you will know I'm a massive fan of this Fulham team, and there will be no pushovers whatsoever for this Liverpool team, particularly as well because they do have 2,000 fans at this game as well. And to be honest, I do not think it is beyond the realms of possibility for Fulham to cause an upset here and potentially beat Liverpool, but overall I feel like Liverpool are on a very good run of form. Jurgen Klopp is the best manager in the world in my opinion. They have too much quality for this Fulham side, and that is why I've gone for Fulham 1, Liverpool 3. On to the penultimate game of this weekend, Leicester City versus Brighton. Now Leicester, I'm not going to lie, have really looked really lacklustre in recent weeks. I thought they'd been very flat, and overall I thought they were very fortunate to win against this, you know, dire Sheffield United team, I think it's fair to say, last weekend. They are getting their players back as well, their big players like Ndidi, Pereira, Soyuncu, Castagna, but I don't think any of them will really feature in this game, and I don't think they're fully ready yet, and I feel like Brighton are that team that just could go to the King Power Stadium and just beat Leicester, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I think they will do that because I think Brighton are very much a capable team, and I think Leicester have been really uninspiring in recent weeks, and that is why it may be a shock to some people. I have gone for Leicester City 1, Brighton 2 at the King Power Stadium, so yeah, maybe a bit of an upset there, but who knows. And the final game of the weekend, Arsenal versus Burnley at the Emirates. 2,000 Arsenal fans at the stadium, which should be a very interesting reception they get when they walk onto the pitch at the start, because I think it's fair to say they've had an absolute nightmare season, particularly in the last month or so. They've been absolutely horrendous. I mean, they're down in 15th place in the Premier League for a reason, and even if Brighton beat Southampton on Monday night, they would have been 16th, which is just absolutely ridiculous to hear 12 games into a Premier League season for a club like Arsenal. They are missing Thomas Partey as well this weekend after, you know, the whole horror show against Spurs last weekend when he walked off the pitch in the middle of a Spurs counter-attack, but a massive loss there for Arsenal. And overall I feel like Burnley, they do make a bit of a test for this Arsenal team whenever they do play him, but also in saying that, in doing that, they also obviously lose the whole time to Arsenal as well, so that is why I think that Arsenal will get back to winning ways on Sunday night, and that is why I've gone for Arsenal 2, Burnley 0, but I'll have to say, if Arsenal do not win this in front of their home supporters, let's just say I would not want to be one of these Arsenal players walking off the pitch after that game if they do not get 3 points. But yeah, those are my Game Week 12 predictions for the Premier League this weekend. If you want to go and comment down below your predictions for the games that are being played this weekend, then please feel free to do so, because I am very interested to see how you guys think these games will go. And also, as I said at the start of this video, if you could hit that subscribe button, it'd be very much appreciated, because if we could hit 800 subscribers by, let's say, the end of the weekend, I think that would be very good. Also, make sure to leave a like on the channel as well if you did enjoy. 10 to 15 likes would be massively appreciated as per usual, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.